everyone. So for our glove tutorial today, we're just going to need a few things. We're going to need a pair of scissors. You're going to need a 5mm hook. You're also going to need a needle, and then you can use pretty much any, I would say 4-weight yarn will do the best. If you have something that's between 150 and 200 yards, that should be good enough. This, I just have kind of a chunk left over from a couple previous skeins that I just want to use up, and little projects like gloves and boot cuffs are great for that. So that's what we're going to do today, is make some gloves to go with part of our series for September. So we'll go ahead and just get started. Alright guys, so to start our tutorial, we are going to make a slip knot. And then we are going to do half double crochet foundation chains. We're going to do 30 of those. And so just a recap on how to do that, you're going to chain 1, and then we're going to be working back into this chain away from the hook here. You're going to yarn over, insert into that chain, drop a loop. So you should have 3 on your hook now. You are going to yarn over and go through 1 loop. That's our chain 1. And then you're going to yarn over and go through all 3 of the remaining loops on the hook. So that's our half double crochet. So we're going to work back in 2 stitches. So to find your stitches, you'll just gently pull that last stitch you made apart, and it will give you an opening. We want to work back through that opening. So you're just going to yarn over, insert your hook into that opening, drop a loop, pull through 1, and then pull through 3. And so we're going to continue that same process 30 times in total. So we will need to make 28 more of these. And that will be our foundation for our gloves. And I'll meet you guys back here whenever we reach our 30. Alrighty, now that we have 30 of our half double foundation chain stitches, we are going to go ahead and begin the first row. So we're going to chain 2. And then we are going to turn our work over. And then now we're going to do half double crochets all the way across. So remember, this chain 2 is going to count as the first half double crochet, so you will not work in that same stitch that you're chaining out of. You will go on to the next one. So we're just going to yarn over, insert our hook, and then we're going to drop a loop and then just pull through all 3 to make our first half double crochet. So we're going to do that all the way to the end, and then I'll meet you guys back here. And if this is your first tutorial, I'll go ahead and go over this part too. So whenever I do the foundations, I like to cover this loop here that we have extra on the end up. So I'll show you how I do that. So in the last stitch, I'm going to go ahead and insert and yarn over. And then I'm going to just add this extra loop here over the top of my crochet hook. And that's just going to help the tail kind of dart inward, so it's not going to be sticking out and pretty obvious. So at the end, it makes it a little easier, I feel like, to hide whenever we do end up weaving in ends. So then you're just going to pull your yarn through all 4 of those, and that makes just a kind of nice clean side there. And here's the tail at the bottom, so it'll be easier to sew in later. At least that's what I think, and that's what I do. You don't have to do this. This is just a visual thing for myself. So now we're going to go ahead and do the next row. And so we're going to chain 3 this time. And then you're going to turn your work over. And then we're going to work double crochets all the way across. Now, again, skip that first stitch that we're chaining out of, because the chain 3 counts as a double crochet. And then you're going to go and double crochet starting in the next one. And then, yep, just go all the way across to the end. All right, so once we've gotten across with our double crochet row, so in this last stitch here, I left unworked so I can show you. This is chain 3 here, or chain 2. So there's a chain 2 here, and so we are going to actually work in the top of that to make our final stitch. So you will just yarn over, insert your hook into that top chain there, and then drop a loop and then double crochet. And that way we get a nice clean edge there to continue our work. And so we are going to now start with the front post double crochets. You're going to chain 3, going to turn your work over, and then we are going to start in the next stitch. Again, we're going to skip this one we're chaining out of and start in the next one. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook on the front side to the back behind the stitch, and then back through on the other side. So it should look like this on the back, should look like this on the front. Going to yarn over, drop a loop, and double crochet. And that gives us our front post double crochet right there. It just makes it kind of stick out a little bit more, gives it kind of a on top of the stitch look rather than just flush with everything. Makes a really pretty design. And then the next one, we are going to just do a regular double crochet in the top. And then the next one after that, we are going to just front post around that one as well. And then double crochet in the next. So you're going to repeat the same pattern all the way to the end. Just doing your front post and then a double crochet, front post and then double crochet. And then I will show you with the very last stitch again, because that's going to be a little different for this row as well. So now we're at the end of the row. We're at the last stitch, which is this chain 3 here. So what we're going to do is, instead of having, you know, a stitch next to this one to work beside, we are going to literally just yarn over, insert our hook in this space here, and then we're going to drop a loop, and then we are going to double crochet. And we just worked around that final chain to make our front post here, and it's going to be more obvious what we did the more rows we get into. And so this just helps make the pattern look flush and look even. So we're going to now chain 3, and we're going to turn our work, and then to do this row, we are going to be doing kind of like an opposition row. For every double crochet, there's going to be a front post in it, and for every front post, there'll be a double crochet. So whereas we are working out of this front post we made in the previous row, we chain 3, that counts as our double crochet. So this next one, which is just a regular double crochet stitch, we're going to work a front post around it. And then the next one is a front post, so we're going to work a double crochet in the top. And then the next one is just a regular double crochet, so we'll work a front post around it. And then we'll work a double crochet in the next one. So we're just going to continue this until the very end. And again, I will stop and show you guys what it looks like on that very last stitch. So we are now ending at this chain 3 again. So we're just going to front post double crochet around, and that will make our final stitch in our row. And so now we're going to continue working these last 2 rows. We're going to work them 4 more times, so that means you'll do next the front post double crochet, and then the next one after that will be double crochet front post. And again, we'll do that up to row 9, so a total of 4 more times for these rows. And so I'll meet you guys back here whenever we've gotten all that worked up. And remember, your chain 3 counts as the first stitch, and then whenever you end with a chain 3, you're going to want to work the front post around that chain 3 to make the final stitch. So I'll meet you guys back here when we finish. All right, guys, now that we've got our waffle stitches ready to go, we are going to do 2 rows of double crochet. So all you will need to do is chain 3, make sure your work is flipped over, and then skip that first double crochet that we're chaining out of and double crochet in the next, and just repeat that all the way to the end. And so like we've done in previous rows, we're going to get to our chain 3 here at the end, and what we want to do is just double crochet in the top of that chain 3. So like we did before down here, we're going to repeat that process of going in the top of the chain. So I'll meet you guys back here after we've done 2 rows of that. Now that we've gotten our 2 double crochet rows finished, we're going to do the next row, and it gets a little interesting from here. So in this row, we're going to be working on the thumb hole, and sometimes that can be kind of tricky. So I'm going to go through the whole row for you guys, just so you know, everybody's on the same page, that it's a little bit easier to get. And so to start this row off, we're going to chain 3. We're going to flip our work, and then we are going to double crochet in the next 7 stitches. So we'll have a total of 8 double crochets because this chain 3 counts as 1. So we're going to do 7 more. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we should have a total of 8, so we can go back and count. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we have our 8 first double crochets, and now we are going to skip 2. So 1, 2, and so we'll be working in this 3rd double crochet from our hook. So here we're going to do some more foundation half double crochets, and this just allows the thumb hole to be stretchy. You can do chains out of here, but it's going to be really stiff, and it could be really tight around the thumb, and we really don't want to cut off anybody's circulation. So it's always good to do foundation crochets out as a thumb hole rather than just chains. So before we work into that 3rd double crochet from the hook, we are going to do those foundation half double crochets now. And so we're gonna turn our work over, we're going to be working kind of weird, whereas our little like hole, whenever we separate the stitches, was on this side rather than this side. We are going to be working closer to this side now, just the way the stitch is. So you'll see here we have the 2 loops here, and then we have 1 here. We're going to go in between those, and then that's going to start the foundation chain. So you're going to yarn over, insert into that space, drop a loop, go through 1, and then you're going to go through 3. So that gets us our first stitch there. So we're going to do that 3 more times, and again you'll separate, and now this time you'll be back to the way we were before, where the 1 loop is on this side, the other loops are on the other side. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook, drop a loop, pull through 1, pull through 3, and then again, and then our final one. Okay, so yeah, that just makes a nice stretchy thumb hole there. And so now what we're going to do is double crochet in that third double crochet from the previous row. So here's the first one, there's the second where we're skipping those, and then the third one here, that's where we're going to work. And so there's our nice little thumb hole there. As you can see, perfect size for the thumb, and it's stretchy, it's not too tight. Again, we don't want to cut off people's circulation, that wouldn't be very nice. So now we're going to just double crochet all the way to the end, and again with this chain 3, just double crochet in the top of it to finish off the row. And I'll meet you guys back here for the next one. Okay, so we've completed that row, got our lovely thumb hole starting up here, and it's actually starting to take shape as far as what a glove looks like. So the next few stitches, or the next few rows, we're going to be doing the alpine pattern, and so we're going to chain 3, flip our work over, and so we're going to be working the alpine all the way through. So we'll be starting with front post and double crochet, and then when we get to the thumb hole, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to just do some double crochets in the tops of those, and that's just to kind of make sure we don't distort our thumb hole too much, because the next row it should be fine to start working the alpine. It's just easier to give it one extra row of double crochet to make sure it's fully formed. So with this, it's kind of like the waffle stitch. We're gonna skip our first double crochet and then work our front post around the next one, and then double crochet in the next, front post around the next. So just repeat that until you get to the thumb hole, and then we're going to do the double crochets in that one. All right, so we are at the very last stitch before we actually get to the thumb hole here. So it's this final double crochet here. So we're going to work our front post around that, and then the next 4 stitches will be our actual thumb hole. And so what we want to do is just double crochet in each one of those. Okay, and then we'll get to this first double crochet here, and so what we want to do is work a front post around that stitch there. This is going to kind of just make it appear like nothing happened, that this thumb hole is still there, that there's no hole here, it's just a straight row. So, and that's what we want. We want the work to kind of blend in and the pattern to sync really well. So we're just going to double crochet in the top of the next, and then front post around, and then double crochet, front post, double crochet. All right, so and then this first double crochet here, we're just going to double crochet in the top of that one also, and this is going to help us keep our row going steady, whereas because we don't want our thumb hole to distort our pattern. We want it to blend in and go straight across, as if there was no hole here. So we will put the double crochet, and then we're going to front post around the next, double crochet, front post, double crochet, front post, double crochet, and then our final chain 3 here, we want to just front post around it. And there we go. So we've got our thumb hole with the double crochets, and now we can continue to work the rest of our pattern without it looking funky or the stitches being kind of off looking. So we're gonna go ahead and start the next row. We'll chain 3, we'll flip our work. And so since we're working the alpine, we're going to be doing back post where there were double crochets, and then we're going to be working double crochets where there was a front post. So this is where the transitioning opposition stitch thing going on here. So we've chained 3, so that's our first double crochet, and then we're going to back post, which means you're just going to yarn over, and then you're going to insert from the back side rather than the front, and then you're going to go in front of the stitch and then out the side of it. So the back should look like this, and then our front is going to look like that. Just drop a loop there, and then you'll have 3 on your hook, and then you'll just double crochet. And so it gives us our front, our back post on the back side rather than the front, and then we'll double crochet in the next, and then again a back post around the next stitch. And so we're going to just repeat that all the way around, including the double crochets in the thumb hole, because we've got it pretty much set. Now we can just work these regular stitches in our next few rows. So yeah, just keep doing the double crochet, back post, and then I'll meet you guys at the end. So we've made it to the end here, and like we've done in previous rows of where we've done the front post, we are going to work a back post around this final chain 3. So again, you'll just yarn over and go up through the back side, and then pull your yarn through the loop, and then you're going to just do a double crochet. And that way it's showing, you know, on the back side rather than the front side. Just, you know, meshes with the pattern pretty well. So now what we're going to do for our next one is we are going to chain 3, flip our work over, and work another row of the front post and double crochet. Right, so now that we've completed that row, we're going to chain 3, turn our work over, and then now we are going to work another row of the front post, or another row of the back post into the double crochet, and then double crochet into the front post, so that we get our little zigzag pattern going on here. So yeah, just work a row of that. And all right, so now that we've worked that last row, we are going to work 4 more rows of the same pattern. So we'll chain 3, turn our work over, and then in this one we're going to be doing the front post where there is a double crochet, and a double crochet where there is a back post. And so we're going to do that row, and then we're going to do another row of the back post, another row of the front post, and we're going to end with a row of back post and double crochets. So whenever you guys get that worked up, we'll move on to the next part, which is going to be sewing the ends together, and then we will have a finished glove. All right, so now that we've completed all of our alpine stitch, it is now time to fasten off, and we're going to go ahead and sew in the sides to actually form the glove. So to fasten this off, you're just going to chain 1, and then we're going to take our scissors. We're going to give ourselves a pretty generous tail, you know, probably more than we actually need, but just to make sure we have enough. And then you're just going to pull it all the way through. And then there we go. So you have that little knot up there. And then we're going to thread our needle All right, so now that we have our needle threaded, we are going to just match up the sides, and you want to make sure we put right sides together. So that will be your alpine stitch texture will be on the inside with the waffle stitch, and then we'll have, as far as the back side goes, the wrong side will be this pattern here from the alpine stitch. So we're going to line up the edges, and like we normally do in our sewing of stuff, we are going to go through the first corner stitches here through both of them. And then we're going to do it one more time in the same spot just to kind of seal it off. All right, and then we're going to weave in and out through the stitches along. So you'll just line up again those first stitches on either side, and we are going to put them through starting from the outside in, since our thread is pulled through there, or since our yarn is pulled through there, we're going to work in the opposite direction. So and then we're going to go from the inside out. And the outside in. So we're just going to repeat this all the way down the edge here. And then we will do our little finishing stitches. All right, so we have our edges together now. So the glove is pretty much formed. What I like to do is on the edges here, you can leave them. You don't have to necessarily do this. This is definitely optional. I do it just because I feel like it looks cleaner, a little more professional. I like to just do a single crochet around each end and then, you know, weave in the ends after that. So if you don't want to mess with that, don't want to deal with the ends and all that stuff, you don't have to do it. You can leave it as is and just turn it inside out. And that will, be your finished product. And then we can move on to the left side. So the left side, I mean, you can just make the same pattern and just sew, together opposite ends or whatever, but it's not going to look quite right. The patterns aren't going to match up right. And to me, it looks better if the patterns kind of sort of match in this aspect of it. So I will go over how to do the left hand side as well, because it's basically working, whereas you do a front post, you'll do a back post and vice versa. It's just kind of working in the opposite, but we will definitely go over that. I'm just gonna add my little border around here real quick, and then I'll meet you guys back. All right, so here's our finished glove, you guys. Super cute, super warm, and super practical. Looks kind of scaly on this side, which is really pretty, especially with the colorway. And then you've got, just regular stitches down here at the palm, and then your waffle stitches on the side here. That's just to kind of help, with movement and everything. So the left one starts pretty similar to this one, you guys. We're still going to do the foundation half double crochet, and then we're going to do a row of half double crochet across, and then a row of double crochet across. So if you need to rewind, just rewind to the beginning of the video where we started, and you're going to do up until the double crochet row. So it'll be row 2 that will be on. So I'll let you guys work up to that point, and then we'll start with the actual part that's going to change. Alright guys, so we've got to our double crochet row, and now we are going to do the part that's switched around. So we're going to chain 3, going to turn your work over. So we're going to actually be working a back post and then a double crochet rather than the front post and double crochet. So we've already chained 3, and that's our first double crochet. So we're going to back post into the next, and then we are going to double crochet in the next, and then back post in the next, and then double crochet. We're just going to continue that all the way down, and we're doing this that way the stitches will be facing out the way we want them to whenever, you know, we turn the glove inside out, rather than it being on the inside where, you know, you can't see it if it's on the inside. And we really want it to match up with our other glove, but also fit with the left hand. So yeah, just continue this all the way down, and I'll meet you at the next row. All right, so we finished that row, and so that's our first row of our little waffle stitch there. So we're going to go ahead and work another row of this, and then we're going to repeat it 2 more times. So 3 more rows of doing the double crochet in the back post. All right, so now we are going to work 2 rows of double crochet. These won't be affected by either side, so just work 2 rows of double crochet. So we've done our 2 rows of double crochet. Now we're going to do the thumb hole row, and so to do that, you're going to actually work all of your double crochets up until you have 10 left, and then we're going to work the rest of it here. So yeah, just work up until you have 10 stitches left, and then we'll move on. So we have 10 stitches left. What we're going to do is work our 4 foundation half double crochets here, and then we're going to skip 2 and double crochet into the next. So just as a refresher, you find the space between the stitches here, yarn over, insert, drop a loop, go through 1, then you're going to pull through 3, and then you're going to do the same thing over again. You're going to do that a total of 4 times. Okay, and then now we're going to skip 2 stitches, so 1, 2, and then we're going to double crochet in this one right here. And so we're going to continue double crocheting all the way to the end. So now that we've worked our row with our thumb hole in it, we are going to start the next row. And so the next row on the glove we did before had you do the front post and then the double crochet. So we're actually going to be starting the back post with the double crochet first this time, and it's just to make sure that the alpine texture is on the outside. And you also have to remember that we're going to be doing a double crochet in each of the top of the 4 foundation half double crochets we did here. So just keep that in mind whenever we're going down. We're going to be working, like I said, the back post and then the double crochet, and then 4 double crochets on the top of our thumb hole here, and then that last one, this one right here, we're going to be working a double crochet in that one as well, just to keep the pattern kind of seamless. So yep, just keep that in mind and work that all the way down. We're going to be working the front post double crochet with the double crochets, including up here at top through our thumb hole. We're going to be making sure we work those double crochets up here with the front post. And so we'll do that to the end, and I'll meet you guys back here. Alright, so we've got our thumb hole worked up, and so now we're going to do the front post double crochet with the double crochets, and then 4 double crochets in the top of the thumb hole, and then we're going to continue that front post and double crochet all the way to the end. Guys, don't forget to do a double crochet in this first stitch here after we've come to the thumb hole, just to make it seamless all the way down. Alright, so we worked our front post, and now we're going to work our double crochet and back post, and we're going to continue doing this pattern up until row 18. So it will be row 18 from our first half double crochet row after the foundation chain up. So just stop at row 18, and then we'll be ready to sew in ends. Alright, so like before, we are finished with our final row here, and you should have ended on the back post with the double crochet. We're going to fasten off and leave yourself a pretty generous tail, because now we are going to sew the sides together. And so you do that the same way that we did before with the first one. And so what I like to do is right sides together, and then just sew you know, end to end until you get a nice flat piece, and then we'll turn it inside out and we'll have our finished glove. So we've got our sides sewn together, and so I'm going to turn my glove inside out. And so again, like before on the other glove, if you want to add the single crochet border around the edges just to smooth them over, you can, but you don't have to. I'm going to, and then I'm going to weave in my little ends here and get it all cleaned up, and then I will show you our finished product. Alright guys, here's our finished gloves. They came out super cute. And as you can see, they match perfectly, and that's the way we want them, with the waffle on one side and the alpine stitch on the opposite side. As you can see, they're super stretchy. They're pretty roomy. I've known most of the gloves that I've made to fit pretty much everybody. So these should fit, you know, one size kind of fits all sort of thing. Super cute, super comfortable. If you guys have enjoyed this tutorial, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be notified whenever I put out a new video. And I would love to see what you guys come up with, especially if you use a different color or a different type of yarn. It would be really interesting to see it in a solid color versus this kind of gradient mixed colorway we've got going here. So, and you can definitely tag me and stuff on Instagram. But thank you guys again. Have a great day.